Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating parts of our biology, fat. Now, forget everything you think you know about it just being, storage. We're going to look at it for what it really is, a super dynamic, elegant system for building, saving, and spending energy.
I mean, really think about it for a second. You have a big meal, and sure, some of that energy gets used right away. But what about the rest? Your body is smart. It meticulously packs that extra energy away, ready to be called on hours or even days later for something like a run. The secret to how this amazing feat happens? It's all about fatty acid metabolism.
At the very heart of this system, you've got fat in two main forms. First, there are the free fatty acids. The best way to think about these is like cash in your wallet. They're floating around in your blood, ready for your muscles to grab and use immediately. And then you've got triacylglycerols, or TAGs for short. This is your body's high-yield savings account, tucked away safely in your fat cells for the long haul.
So, let's completely reframe how we think about fat. It is not just some passive stuff hanging around. It's an incredibly active, ridiculously efficient energy reserve. It's basically your body's own personal superfuel.
So, what exactly is a fatty acid? Well, when you strip it all down, it's just a long chain of carbon and hydrogen atoms. The analogy of a super concentrated energy bar is perfect. It's just jam-packed with fuel, waiting for the signal to be used.
All right, first up, let's look at how we build this amazing energy reserve. See, when you've got more fuel than you need at any given moment, your body doesn't just waste it. Oh no, it fires up this incredibly sophisticated biological assembly line to convert all that excess into stable, storable fat.
And the starting material, the one raw ingredient for this entire process, is a little molecule called Acetyl-CoA. It's kind of like the universal currency of our metabolism. It doesn't matter if it came from carbs, fats, or proteins. When it comes to building new fatty acids from scratch, this is where it all begins.
And this assembly line is just so well organized. First, that acetyl-CoA gets moved out of the cell's powerhouse, the mitochondria, and onto the main factory floor, which is the cytosol. Then a really important enzyme called ACC basically flips the big on switch. After that, the master builder, an enzyme complex called fatty acid synthase, gets to work, adding 2 carbons at a time, over and over, until it's built a 16-carbon fatty acid called palmitate.
But the journey isn't over just yet. This brand new fatty acid can now be customized. It can be made even longer, or it can have some double bonds added to it. Then for the final step, it's combined with glycerol to create those triacylglycerols, the savings account form we talked about. From there, it's either stored right there in a fat cell or packaged up by the liver and shipped out to other parts of the body.
Okay, so we've seen how the body saves up all this energy. Now for the really exciting part. How does it cash in? Let's dive into the process of unlocking all that incredible power we've so carefully stored away.
Now, this whole process is anything but random. It is tightly controlled. When you're exercising, or maybe you haven't eaten for a while, hormones like epinephrine and glucagon act like messengers, sending a very clear signal to your fat cells. Hey, it's time to release the fuel. And the enzyme that picks up that hormonal call is hormone-sensitive lipase, or HSL. You can think of HSL as the master key to the savings vault. As soon as it gets that signal, it springs into action and starts breaking down the stored tags, liberating those free fatty acids and sending them out into the bloodstream to be used as fuel. So when one of those free fatty acids reaches a cell that needs energy, it goes through a process called beta-oxidation. And you might notice this looks a lot like the synthesis process, just running in reverse. First, the fatty acid is shuttled into the mitochondria. Then in this repeating 4-step cycle, it just gets sliced up 2 carbons at a time, releasing that familiar molecule acetyl-CoA, which can now be used directly for a huge energy payout.
And this is where you really see the sheer power of fat as a fuel. From breaking down just one molecule of palmitate, the same one we built earlier, a cell can generate a staggering 129 units of ATP. ATP is the energy currency of your body. Now, just to put that in perspective, one molecule of glucose gives you around 30 ATP. So, yeah, that's an absolutely incredible return on investment.
But what happens if this fat-burning furnace gets too hot? Like during prolonged fasting or in cases of uncontrolled diabetes. Well, the body has this really clever backup plan. It starts producing a special kind of alternative fuel.
See, the system can actually get overwhelmed. If beta-oxidation is running so fast that the liver is just flooded with way more acetyl-CoA than it can use for its own energy needs, it has to do something with all that excess. It can't just let it build up.
And the solution is frankly brilliant. The liver takes that surplus acetyl-CoA and converts it into ketone bodies. These are awesome little fuel molecules because they're water-soluble, which means they can travel super easily through the blood and be used by other tissues, especially the brain, which absolutely loves them as an alternative fuel to glucose.
Now, there are 3 main types of these ketone bodies. 2 of them are excellent fuels, but the third one, acetone, is a bit different. It's a volatile side product that your body can't really use for energy. So what does it do? It just gets exhaled. And that's actually what causes that distinct fruity breath you sometimes hear about with ketoacidosis and uncontrolled diabetes.
Okay, let's pull all these pieces together and zoom out for a second. What we've really been looking at is this beautiful, constantly shifting economy of fat management that's happening inside our bodies all the time.
This little table here really recaps the whole story perfectly. You've got synthesis, which happens out on the factory floor of the cytosol, all about storing energy. Then you've got beta-oxidation happening inside the powerhouse of the mitochondria, focused on releasing that energy. And finally, you've got ketogenesis, the backup plan, also in the mitochondria, but specifically in the liver, to handle any overflow. It's a system in perfect, constant balance.
And remember, this is not just some dry textbook science. This constant flux, this dance between storing and burning fat, is happening inside you right now. So the real question to think about is, how is your next choice, your next meal, or your next workout going to tip those metabolic scales?